and welcome to Showsters House, a show where we discuss very critical issues that are driving the nation's conversation. And today I've got a very special guest. It's very special because we've done like 1,000 radio interviews. We've never done TV together. And he's a person who I consider a father. And a lot of you I know follow him and love him. He's a presiding bishop from Liberty Christian Center. Is Bishop Dr. Eddie Mulenga, and of course he's right here with me to have a conversation with us and help us understand some of the things we might be missing. Bish.
Wonderful. Thank you for having me in Showsters House. I don't know what took you so long to bring me over.
I was just waiting for the perfect time, and the Lord said, "Yeah, my son,
this is the Hey to every viewer, and come on, share this podcast. Let somebody know that we're talking church today.
Thank you.
And again, you are free to address me as Bish.
Bish.
That's my title instead of just the whole bishop.
Dr. Bishop Dr. Eddie Mulenga.
Right? No.
I mentioned Bish.
Yes, I work with creatives, artists, and everybody,
yes.
and they just call me Bish.
No, it's a good thing. I'm so glad to have you here, and thank you so much for making time.
Thank you.
So, for people who might know much about you, who is Bish?
Bishop Eddie is a second in a family of 8. Born in Chingola, lived all over Zambia, did most of my primary school and part of my secondary in Kitwe, and finally Ndola for my tertiary. Did what was called CABS, Certificate in Accounts and Business Studies, but in 1993 went to Kaniki Bible College, graduated 1995. It means that I have been a pastor for the last 29 to 30 years. Worked with Grace Ministries Nation, now spearheading Liberty Christian Center for the last 20 years. We turned 21 this particular September.
Wonderful. It sounds rich already, but I love the speed we're moving because I have a lot of questions for you.
All right. I'm good. I'm ready for you.
Thank you. Also, what is a bit of a background on Liberty Christian Center?
So Liberty Christian Center was set up in 2004. We started in March and was launched in September by Bishops White and Jean Chama of blessed memory. They are before the Lord. And for the last 20 years, we have planted churches in all over Zambia, Chipata, Katete, in Ndola, Solwezi, and so on, all over Lusaka. And we are not just doing church, we're doing schools, Liberty Christian Academy, and so on. And so we really are in the heart of the community, right in between Chipata, Overspill, and Mandevu is a beautiful community called Northgate Gardens, where our mother church is in that particular place. So that's Liberty Christian Center, a work that has been impacting souls. And I like working in the communities, those really poor communities, Chipata Compound, Chazanga, Mandevu, and so on. That's where we started from, and are still doing a work for the Lord.
Wonderful. A lot of you have seen, a lot of us rather, have seen you preside over, say, even just funerals of people that were not even part of your congregation. And I know a lot of men of God would not associate with people like that. But we've seen you do it frequently. I want to know, what is the motivation behind even just being found with non-believers? And also, that's my first question on that. My second question is, what do your peers say when you associate with people like that?
Wow, that question is an interesting one. So, first and foremost, I think Jesus made reference to it. He says, John the Baptist came neither eating or drinking, and you called him that he has a demon. And the Son of Man came eating and drinking, and you said he is a drunk, so to say. That is the question that Jesus always faced. When he sits down to eat with Zacchaeus, they say he's with sinners. So I'd like to be able to mention that I was thrown into this. What's the motivation first? It is, number one, that it's an opportunity for these people who don't seem to have time to get into a church every Sunday. Some of them work late on the Saturday, leaving their workplace. If they were doing a concert or anything, these musicians at 4 o'clock, they will not be listening to me at 7 o'clock, tired, and so on. But when there is a funeral, I have full attention of them. And when I make an altar call to give their lives to Jesus, I've seen more numbers in those particular places than in a church service. Number two, the work of comforting is, you don't just comfort believers, you don't just comfort people who go to church. Even those who've never stepped in church for a year will need a comfort when they lose a loved one. So that is the motivation, to see souls won to the Lord. Number two, to minister comfort to a grieving people. Having said that, what do my peers say? When I started on this particular road, a number of them actually were angry with me. And they would say the following words: listen, why are you doing funerals of these who don't come to church? If you continue doing that, they will not be coming to church. Stop it. Leave them so they see the need to come to church. Over the years now, a number of them have changed their minds, and they began to actually see the importance of my being able to reach out to creatives, artists, entertainment people. And I will tell you that I didn't plan it. It just happened. It simply happened. How did I start? Lility. Lility dies, and she was there as my spiritual child.
Yes.
Lility used to call me wherever she was, and something was playing in the background.
Oh,
How do
okay.
on plane mode? Bear with me. Sorry.
It's okay.
All right.
It's okay.
So Lility literally would call me, "Sir, pray for me. I'm not feeling well." When she passed, the Temple family said, "You are the pastor." When I finished that funeral at the Cathedral of the Holy Cross, the entertainment industry walked over and said, "We're shocked that you would come to us and minister to us." You remember when the creatives came to church finally, over 30 singers, DJs, and everybody. And Michael Zulu was able to say, "I'm not a Christian, but if I passed, this man must do my funeral."
I was there.
That was an interesting one, but he has been constant. It's the first time he shook my hand on Lility's funeral and said, "I didn't know there are pastors like you, and I'd like to visit your church." And you guys made it possible when he visited church.
Wonderful.
With all of you.
No, we had to come. We can feel the love from your side.
Thank you, sir.
We are always there for, especially the industry, and you've been there for a lot of our friends. And that one, we didn't even plan to tell you. We just said, can we just show up one day and surprise this man?
I was blown away. I had just been tired doing all the funerals for Dandy Crazy.
The look on your face when we walked into your church.
How could you do that to me?
Some of us were even talking to you in that week, and then I was like,
You won. You won. I will make a comeback.
We did the number on you. So, Bish, that's that. I appreciate everything. On behalf of everybody, I think we appreciate you being there for us.
Thank you.
Now, moving on.
Yes.
The country has been in a state of uncertainty for the last 3 weeks today, on the 5th of June.
Wow.
Regarding the funeral and burial of the 6th President, Edgar Chagwa Lungu. Now, Bish, I'll throw it to you. Many Zambians were actually looking, and I know you've seen this conversation.
Right.
They were actually looking to the church to help broker a deal between the family and the government. But as it stands, we're still in the state of people not agreeing, so meaning the brokering of the deal has not happened.
Right.
Is the church losing its conciliatory role?
I have said on a lot of fora that the church has lost its prophetic voice. And by the way, when I use the word prophetic, I'm not talking about prophetic as in predictive or telling you your name before you tell me. No, prophetic, the role of the prophet was to give direction to a nation. When a prophet came, Isaiah, Jeremiah, Nathan, whoever it is, they gave a direction to the king and to the people. Yes.
They give the direction to the king.
To the king.
And the people.
And the people. So they would warn David, that route you're going is not right. Change course. They'll tell the people, don't make an alliance with Egypt. God says you will do this. So they gave them direction. Some of them lived even before being in exile and while in exile. And that is why the prophet Jeremiah becomes significant. He warned them before they were going to exile, but when they're in exile, he still brings a word to them. So it means whether they're right or they are wrong, they still need to hear the word. Yes, the church has been at pivotal places in the nation, whether it was 1991 when we're moving from the one party to multi-party. We saw, I was young, but I was present in Mulungu Conference Center when I saw President Kaunda and President Chiluba shake hands. And so the church has been that voice. But right now, the church has been so polarized, and it reflects actually where the nation is. We're all polarized. We're pulling two different directions. And the church, I have said, this matter will be an indictment upon the church, that we were not the voice we were supposed to have been.
What do you think is what do you think is the issue that's weakening that voice of the church? I've got a theory, but maybe I want to hear from you.
I think that we have taken a stance, and it really is a partisan role. There is a lot that unites these men of God, these pastors, and these churches. All right? We may differ on a few theological points when Jesus is coming, in eschatology, or in the faith of is it a Sabbath or a Sunday place of worship, and things like that. There are some theological differences. But when it comes to we want the nation to be well, we need the citizens to prosper, we need to live in peace, we all agree. So what has divided us is that the clergy have taken a lot of partisan positions. So if you are seen on one political divide, they expect you to be pulling and towing that particular direction. If you belong to the other, it is the same. So nobody wants to hear you if you don't seem to be on their side. And so I think that church leaders, the church has taken political sides instead, partisan sides.
So when you say words like nobody wants to hear you when you don't seem to be on their side, you mean even the powers that be, like for instance, if the powers that be think that you are on the opposing side, then anything you say, you're not given any platform? Yeah,
you should understand that there are people who, conceal leaders and allow them only to hear their side.
Yes.
That is where the problem is. Listen, when Prophet Nathan showed up in 2 Samuel and in chapter 11 to correct the king about Bathsheba, the prophet can't show up every time to tell the king you're doing well. No, sometimes you show up and say you are not doing well. And so my call really is to get the church to be deliberate about finding common ground. If you find yourself on one partisan political divide, at least then be the conscience of that particular leader and tell them that should not be the way to go. Just go ahead. And leaders know when you are telling them a difficult message, that the Lord doesn't want you to do that. And if they're a good leader, they should be able to listen to you. And so I think that the church has been divided on partisan rule, and the men of God are seeing in that particular role. And so I was amazed at the response of the people when I was having my congregation moment to tell, particularly the divide of the PF and the MMD, and I said, let's not play politics with their body, and let's just behave, and let's honor, and all of a sudden their response in that particular place. I mean, I should be able to say on this side what is wrong, on that side what is wrong. Let somebody hear if they need to hear.
I saw a UPND member respond to you. I think he's a senior member of the UPND.
Right.
And I don't think he was very pleased with you giving what I'd like to think was a neutral message.
Right.
Because you said both of you sit down.
Yes.
Both of you behave.
Yes.
But I don't think he was very pleased with you. What do you think could have caused them respond in a defensive way?
Well, first and foremost, I want to assume that maybe he's not even the one who responded. You know, when you run a
Facebook page,
when you run a page, there are other people who may feel to respond, and I hope they passed it on to him for him to acknowledge that they should be able to do that. But I was.
Bish, let me. I know you're trying to be diplomatic, but Bish, everything that's posted on your page, even if it's not you who posted, I'm pretty much sure it's run by you.
Yes.
And they need to at least they need to get at least a nod. Like, that's fine. It can represent me. Let it go.
Yes. First and foremost, I was shocked, and while I don't spend a lot of time to do that, I was told, "Hey, take note," because it was actually responded to on another page, not necessarily on mine, and say, "This is what." So I was surprised that somebody who should be able to say, I think here is a voice that speaks not only on one side, but is able to rebuke on both sides, maybe go and reflect. Does this voice make sense? Is it genuine? Is it sincere? And if it is, I think he should not have responded in that way, but how people respond is their choice.
And I think going forward, people must be able to, think about it. But anyway, moving forward.
Let me add that we are practically in this particular position because those who are in power, the leaders of those leaders, should be able to check their lieutenants. And I will emphasize that if my children in my house misbehave, Wukata and my children, and I don't check them, the state of the house is still my responsibility. So the leaders of those people should be able to check them and sometimes take responsibility and say, I'm not in agreement with what my son said or did, and we are lacking leadership in that particular place on both sides and on all sides. We cannot continue to be this polarized. It's time for this nation not just to heal superficially, but come together and agree that this separation that is getting wider is not good for our children and their children.
I want us to go back to where you said that the church or the leaders have taken partisan positions. If the leaders that we follow and listen to have taken partisan positions, what's in it for us? We're a lost sheep.
Oh yeah. You're in trouble. You're in trouble. It's a hard situation because if we do this, it's hard. Let me be able to be personal. I have seen this divide play out in the church. I've seen two closest of friends be so divided that their relationships suffer. These are members of the church. And that is why, for other pastors, I don't know how they find it easy, to be seen on one particular political divide. Because then what do you do with those who don't believe in your side?
Even your followers that don't believe on the side you're on.
That is why I was speaking to my church. I said, turn to your neighbor and tell them, let's behave. We must be above partisan politics. We must see that we are a family, and this family is called Zambia. If you are in a church, that family is that particular congregation, and you cannot be divided on a political lens.
Bish, tell me something. Have you ever witnessed or been in a situation where maybe you were sidelined because we think you're not supporting, sidelined by your fellow clergy, because maybe they think you're not supporting the parties they support?
Oh, I have been there. I have been there, but I have been this enigma for many people because they can't tell which side I belong to. It was easy for some people to say, I think you belong to this party because how could you pray with the president and so on. And I wish you started from there. The first time I think I ever met the late president was the chaplain invites me to open in prayer for an event that was taking place, and I didn't know the president even knew me until after they say the president will meet some people. He walked over to my table, took off his cape and said, I have not seen you. I was asking my wife the other day that I saw you on TV, and I was wondering where you were at that particular time. A number of years ago, I was doing my master's degree out of town and so on. So some people have been able to be called to me because they think I'm on one political divide. And the others also want to be called on me because they think I'm on the other political divide. But what I have tried to do over the years is to be able to say, the party is not a demon, the party is a vehicle of an ideology.
Wonderful. And let's talk about the current dispute between the Republic of Zambia government and the immediate family of our former president. In your own view, what's the best way to resolve the disputes of the burial and the funeral? What is the best way?
It is very sad that we got to this place. It is very sad. I don't think we should have gotten to this. You would see my discourse and reflection that I have said apologies, forgiveness, and reconciliation was possible. I still believe it now, even when the case is before a court outside Zambia. I still believe apology, forgiveness, and reconciliation.
I want you to look in the camera, Bish, and be direct. Who should apologize to who and for what before we come to forgiveness and reconciliation?
Oh,
let's deal with apologizing.
Apologize.
Who should, between the two parties, who should apologize to who and what exactly are they apologizing for?
In my little study on peace and conflict and resolution, the first thing that suffers is communication. Communication must be repaired. Open channels of communication. When President Chiluba called the warring factions at Mulungushi, it is to just enable them to come and communicate, talk, repair communication lines. Find the best way of communication. You can't communicate with people throwing, arsenals on every end. No, respectfully communicate. Who should apologize? I'm looking into the camera as instructed.
What exactly are they apologizing for between the two parties?
So, if you say one should apologize, you're already breaking the communication. You must realize that to have an impasse, it takes two. It takes two to tango. So both should approach the negotiation ready to apologize, ready to forgive, and ready to receive forgiveness. That principle works in marriage, it works in company disputes, political divide. Both needs to apologize. What is hard with the president being able to say, listen, I apologize for ending in this particular way. I was working on political grounds, but he is a brother and we lost him before we would get.
What specific apology, before we come to the family, what specific apology do you think the president owes, if any, to the family?
To the family. Well, what has played out in public gallery is in terms of, was there really a stopping of the president going for medical attention? I can answer for that until we get the full story. If it was, he loses nothing to be able to say, my lieutenants acted on this because they perceived that our differences might have been personal when they were actually political. He can take a stand and apologize.
Do you think it makes the president look weak if he apologizes to the people in the opposition?
No, leadership is servanthood. And the president has been able to say that a few times. We are your servants. You actually look greater and more powerful. I have pastored for the last 30 years.
Bish, that man is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. You want him to be...
He is not God. He is human. To err is human. Even the pastors err. I have been able to say to the church, I'm sorry. That was not a good decision. Every decision I've made in the church has not been the best. Oh God, I have been able to apologize. He can. The family can apologize and say, we didn't give you room to hear us. We have been told many things that probably you are not. So the impasse, if it's between family and president, both are able to come to accountability. Then they have an opportunity to say, we've been hurt. We're angry. We have seen you in this light, but you can't get there if there's no communication. So I do repeat, the president can apologize. We can't get in this stalemate.
He hasn't.
Well, you know, many times I actually think that...
So he probably doesn't... Do you think... Maybe I shouldn't say it. Maybe I should ask. Do you think he doesn't see the need to apologize? Or maybe he's not given that space for him to be able to apologize?
Both. Maybe number one, it is the people around him who would tell him, you look weak if you do. Number two, maybe he has not been given that particular fora. So those are possibilities. He's got good people around him. I mean, the vice president would have been an envoy to be able to do that. I personally know his dear wife, Bishop Nalumango, who I went to school with to study my PhD in leadership. So that family, I know, loves the Lord, have served the Lord, have all the accolades of Reverend and Bishop. They are able to be the voice for His Excellency. And so I believe that those of you who would be around the president, allow him to be a greater person in this particular matter.
Thank you. I like that. Bish, we have a date. We have a holiday in Zambia called, it must be like...
Prayer and fasting, 18th reconciliation.
18th of October?
Yes, 18th of October.
Yeah. Has it helped? Because if we actually even recognize a date like that, and then we're actually even this impasse where we're making worldwide headlines, has it helped? Do we still need it?
It has helped. To get rid of it is to open another portal of evil. So number one, every nation has a day of prayer, whether it's the United States of America, Israel has Yom Kippur, and I've been in a day of prayer in South Africa before. Every nation has had that. It is important. It becomes, if you understand spiritual language, an altar where people approach. Now, one of the reasons Israel needed to come to God is not because they were perfect. In fact, on Yom Kippur, the priest would actually present the sins of the nation over to God for forgiveness. So you need it. I think the word is it been effective? Has it been impactful? It has not been as effective as it ought to be. I have been watching how it would unfold at the change of administration. But you would be able to see that many times it was politicized. Firstly, when it was declared during the Patriotic Front, it looked as if it was their day. Now they were not there. It looks like it is
been abandoned.
Weakened, because now it's run not by a ministry of religious, but a religious desk under the vice president. And again, I know good people like Permanent Secretary Ndiwa doing a great job, pastors and apostles who I personally know helping it together, whether it is Bishop Richard or Kata and those. I know these people. So I want you to know that we cannot be divided on political grounds. There are good people on both the divide. So when
as much as that, if that day is always going to be viewed like as a PF political day, I don't know how the powers right now will do everything to make it effective.
Oh, they have many vehicles, many channels. It is to do, I think, one of the things that President Edgar Lungu had to remind the ministers over the years he presided during that particular time. He told them, I don't want to speak. But all of them wanted, oh no, you speak. He says, no, this belongs to the church. Let church leaders lead. So even now, the best way is church lead, whether it is through the religious desk, chaplain general in the armed forces and things like that. There are many vehicles. This is a beautiful thing. Let's harness it. It helps us. In fact, this particular September will be very pivotal because we really have a lot to come and repent about as a nation. We need to humble ourselves. We need God's help and intervention.
Very. Moving on, Bishop, there are accusations that the government attempted to repatriate the body without the family's consent. These are accusations and allegations.
Allegations.
Okay? If it's true, what biblical and legal consequences should such actions carry?
You do not fight over a body. You do not fight over a body. Through scripture, sometimes kings were led, as in buried, in the place where they were not supposed to be. And at a particular time, they were moved to Jerusalem, the city of David, where they would be laid. Wisdom at the last end should have been, there's an impasse about this particular arrangement. Let him lay where he would. There should be the rightful place, and you are able to move that. Sometimes it was in the time of war. Sometimes, they died in a different place. And then the king would be able to say, let's have them lay in the right place. What does it, what would it result into? I believe that it deepens the hurt, it deepens the divide, it deepens the pain. For me right now, the most I worry about is what are his children? What is his late wife going through. And with it, we are deepening our divide.
You've mentioned let him be buried in a right place. In your view, which one is the right place for him to be buried?
I think we set a pattern for ourselves that the right place would be at where we bury our presidents. That would be, and
Embassy Park?
Embassy Park would be.
You disagree with the family that burying him in South Africa is?
I don't disagree with them. You ask me where I'd prefer, I prefer Embassy Park. But if the family says would like to lay him in South Africa, I would like to agree with them to go ahead. Right now, we will hear how the judgment is going to be. But if the family chose to be, I would not be able to disagree with them. I would not own him more now than they did, because he's first a father, he is a husband, he's a brother and a sister. So I think at this particular point, I'd listen to them.
There's an open grave at Embassy Park.
Wow.
What and for all I know, I think there's also another one in South Africa. What are the spiritual consequences of burying our former president in South Africa rather than in Zambia?
Spiritual consequences. Firstly, an open grave. In African traditions and religion, and by the way, it's one of the studies in theology. In African traditions and religions, an open grave is dangerous. Spiritually, let me read you Psalm 89, verse 48.
In the Bible? I shouldn't have brought up these questions.
Graves have power. According to scripture, who can live and not see death? Or who can escape the power of the grave? There is something about a grave. So that in Job, it says there are people who make covenant with the grave. It means they agree with the grave to release death. So it is not good for a nation to keep an open grave. And if there be another in South Africa, that's double. We have, as a church, a deep responsibility to ask God to intervene in this particular matter. There is a spiritual implication.
What are the implications, Bishop, for us to keep an open grave at Embassy Park?
In Songs of Solomon 8, it talks about love being as powerful as a grave. So the grave would be calling for...
Calling who?
Look at you pushing me.
No, I want to run away. Half of me doesn't want you to answer, but half of me wants to hear.
You are releasing a spirit of death.
We are releasing a spirit of death.
Oh, yes, over a nation.
Over a nation?
Yes. And it would be physical death. It would be spiritual death. It could be economical death. It would be relationships and things like that. You give power to Satan to bring an accusation for the whole nation. Because, number one, of our divide, but number two, an open grave. And say they dug the grave. So it is a spiritual, deep matter. It's very deep. It's not something light. Somebody can even laugh at it. But spiritually, you're speaking an open grave, which satanic, demonic, and occultic powers and people would be able to use.
Should I worry if I'm next in line to be buried at Embassy Park?
You shouldn't, because you can deal with this matter by prayer and repentance. We need this time as a church. Come before God and say, forgive us. We need to begin with, as somebody says, where was our voice when we were seeing the divide growing and growing? Where were we when people were crying out This is not right. So we need, you shouldn't worry because you can deal with it by prayer.
By prayer, you can deal with it.
Yes.
But if you don't deal with it, then
You should fear.
then you should fear.
Yes.
I think I'll end that conversation there. It's very creepy. Bish. Please forgive me.
You're allowed to feel the fear. We should.
Bish, do you believe it is? Oh, and by the way, there's a line on the screen. Please make use of it. I'll be allowing the public to come through and talk to Bishop Eddie Mulenga. He's scaring me, but yeah, you can talk to him. Do you believe it is spiritually or ethically wrong for someone to insist on attending a funeral when the family has explicitly said no, especially in our African context?
Now you have laid it with African context.
Yes, we're in Africa.
If that be the case, ethically, traditionally, when people are grieving, they're able to say a number of things. If I was asked earlier before this, I would have said, again, Shosta, the president should have been able to go to the family and say, hey, listen, we've gotten to this. We could have done it earlier. How can I be of help? And they would have told him, we don't want you at the funeral. Okay. Any other requests you don't want me to do? And things like that. All right. So I'm going to delegate.
So the president sent people on his behalf. Isn't it the same?
It's not the same. It's not the same. People speak based on which place they stand. Anybody who speaks on your behalf may not carry your spirit in that particular place. There are things you do yourself. So I believe that they tried their best. When they fail, I think the president should have taken it. Should have taken it personally and say, how do I help you? How do I assist in this particular manner? Otherwise, now we are hearing more.
He came through and cancelled the national money? But still insists that the former president should be buried in the country?
Again, I think we people who speak to leaders should be able to help them in those particular places. He is in a place of leadership. He probably knew the reports and how that was affecting the nation, and then went that route. If I was around his corner, I would have said, sir, let it roll out. Let's reach the Monday you declared. And then after that particular Monday, then you can lift it until the time when we're able to get together and mourn as a nation and lay the former president to rest. If I was asked, that is how I would have gone. But like all of us, we watched him put it off on that particular Thursday.
Okay. If you were in the corner, you would have asked him to let it play its course until Monday.
Yes,
okay.
sir.
Okay. Producer says there's a caller. Hello. Hello. Okay. So yes. So when you say that mostly people that are around the president should be able to tell the president, these people are people that are also independent thinkers.
Listen, this has played along case of the late President Kenneth Kaunda, our founding father. All of them, whether it was Rupiah Banda when he was losing his seat, President Edgar Chagwa Lungu, and now the president. All these powers should be able to allow people to just be critical and oppose their decisions and hear them.
Also, sorry, I think that I didn't get your explicit answer when I asked, do you believe it's spiritually or ethically wrong for someone to insist they want to attend the funeral. But hold your thought. Hi there. Good afternoon. Hello. Good afternoon.
Hello.
Oh, your name, sir, and where are you calling us from? Kindly speak up.
Sylvester Mumba.
Sylvester
Calling
Mumba.
from Lusaka.
Okay, from Lusaka. Okay, you may talk to Bish, please. You may go on. You have
Yes.
2 minutes. You have 2 minutes, please.
I just have, I think, 2 questions. So before I ask, I think this is the time that in the country that we are in, this is a time where I think, compromise should be taken. Where 2 people that are facing something that they cannot agree, both of them. Someone needs to take. You can't have a win-win when you are trying to negotiate. So someone has to take, things that you compromise on what you want, things that are not up to your standards as you want. So you compromise for the sake of peace. You compromise for the sake of Mother Zambia. So us that are far, we don't know what these people that are negotiating, what they are saying. But what we are praying for now is that they should come to an agreement. One of them should compromise, usually for the sake of peace. I've followed what Bish is saying, and here it's true there are spiritual consequences where a king is biding another land. If we look in the Bible, even I think it's Joseph, he made his followers to swear that if I die in this place, please take my bones back to my land. So there is a huge consequences that is there if this thing has to go the other way. So the government should compromise, so as the family should also compromise for the sake of Zambia. And now lastly, my question is, if the president has to apologize, he should apologize for what? And is there a need also from the family side to apologize to the government? So thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Have yourself a wonderful day. Bish, would you like to respond?
He has made very profound statements right there. First and foremost, there is in the scripture where kings were laid later in their rightful places. Joseph in Genesis tells them, make sure that you can remember.
Hi there, good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon.
Thank you. Your name and where are you calling us from?
I'm Warrior Daka calling you within Lusaka.
Your name, sir?
Warrior Daka calling you within Lusaka.
Mr. Warrior Daka within Lusaka. Please go ahead and have a conversation with Bish. You have 2 minutes starting now.
Thank you, boss. Let me use my language. Bishop Mulibwanji.
Teribwino Alibwanji.
Bishop nakupongani maningi. I think vamene mwakamba vose vilibwino ndio mwamene vifunika kunkalira. But the only problem I see, wali kusogoro pali lero wafuna kuchita accept mistake yamene ilipo na kuti zintu viende bwino. Kaya ngati wavomera mistake yamene ilipo wakukana ku family kukambisa na vonse bwino kuzakala kulibe problem kuti board jenkaleka lipo na lero. Sure. So mwamene mwakambira I think mwakambira mandi ndimo wa face wamene naona hapo kusachita side kusangala ku side ya iliyonse hapo political party, you are on neutral.
Thank you very much.
And that's ndiye mwamene msogoro wa mpingo mwamene Africa nkalira ivama political party musimfunika mapezeka ukoro muri uko imfunika ngala pakati pamene pali long mwakamba pali long pali right pali right ndiye mwamene chabe chifunika kupalira bwino bwino
aziko maningai. Okay, thank you. So wherever you're listening to us from or watching, there's a number on the screen. Please make use of it. Give us a call right now and have a conversation with Bishop Dr. Eddie Mulenga. He's a presiding bishop from Liberty Christian Center right here in Lusaka, and of course he's having a conversation with us. You can give us a call using that number on the screen. Bishop, before we catch you, there's a point you are driving.
I was driving the point that listen, you those of you who are around the president, you can't tell him that he's completely right. Some of it, is not even his personal decision. They are political advisors. They are advisors in different sectors who should have been able to say, you know, you don't have to wait for an apology to actually even to forgive. Jesus says, forgive them, for they know not what they do, while they were still watching him nailed onto the particular cross. And so what should the president, I mean, if you're going to reconcile, look for things to apologize for. I don't even know the depth and everything. If what played out in the public gallery is that some authority somewhere denied the president to go out for treatment once, twice, or 3 times, then the decision of somebody else, he would be able to say, hey, I take that responsibility. Forgive me for not having done that. It's not weakness, it's strength.
Producer, there's a caller. Hi there, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, thank you. Would like to know your name and where you're calling us from?
This is Apostle Joseph Mombi here in Lusaka.
Okay. Apostle, you may go ahead and talk to Bishop Eddie Mulenga. He's listening to you.
Good morning, Bishop Eddie.
Good morning, Apostle. Afternoon. Great to hear from a man of God.
Thank you so much. I just want to contribute. I'm following very well. And I'm grateful the program that is on and what you are doing, because I believe that if we are the church voices, we are there to provide solutions, then we are safe, because we can discuss a number of things. Bish, you can agree with me, but the issue is that in everything that we can discuss, we need to find solutions.
Yes, sir.
Because if we identify the things which is causing whatever is happening in our nation of Zambia, and especially that we're in the midst of funeral and things are not moving very well, and I believe that whatever is happening right now, it can bring, the bad things in the future. I believe that we are people who believe in God, who are authorized to speak in the spiritual realm, and allowing the greatness of God or the blessing of God to appear tangibly. When the Bible says that where people gather together in unity, or let me put it, unity, then God commands a blessing.
Yes, sir.
What does it mean to us? So as a nation, we need to voicing out and provide solutions. We can criticizing things, we can talk things, whatsoever we want to talk right now. But the fact is that we need to provide solutions which will come to solve these situations in every sector and in everywhere. And I would believe in this situation that family is somebody in authority is as a result, it came from the family.
Yes,
That
sir.
much we could know. So when we want to deal with things and the matter of the situation in our country, we need to know that also family are powerful.
Yes, sir.
We are powerful because founding Father God Almighty he allows family to exist on earth and begin to create all these things we have seen. So it's important that we need to pray so much. I concur and I agree with you, Bish, that we need to engage ourselves so much into prayer so that we can allow God to take over. And also there's also point I had about repentance, and we need to go on the altar in reality and repent and pray.
Apostle, I have a question. I have a question before your time runs out.
Yes, sir.
Are you also agreeing that you, especially the men of God, the clergy, have failed us, your followers, in terms of even helping us move through this impasse?
Come again?
I'm saying, are you also agreeing with what was said earlier, that you, the men of God, especially you, the men of God, the church, have failed?
Yes.
You have failed the Zambians, especially moving past this impasse.
I can say that we are in that line because we need to be united and then we solve the issue. No, when we're dealing with the matter of this, what we're talking about, like we are dealing with the church. We are not in the church. We are more than the church. We're in the kingdom. So when we are the kingdom mandate, meaning that we need to come in and when we are united as a church, we're able to come in. So there's also part of the church. We're supposed to unite ourselves together, and we come in.
But you are not united, is it? As a church? Are you united as we are supposed to be as a church?
That one, no, I can say that we are not. We united because the situation is painting the picture. Like, for example, I was introducing to Community TV last time, and I said that if somebody is on the TV and we are here, we support that person in unity, then we are able to win because he is voicing out. Like the whole Bish is there. We support him, and because we are belonging to the church, and let him voice out because he's there according to what he's supposed to present there. And
let us conclude. Let us conclude because of time.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Let us conclude because of time.
Yeah, what I can say in conclusion is that the program that we are brought in right now is very, very important and should not be a last thing and last time for us to go, because the church must be continue all over the media and radios to bring unity and quiet life. The Bible says, pray even to those who are in authority, so that they may live in quiet and peaceful lives.
Yes. Thank you.
Apostle, thank you so much. We appreciate you coming through.
I'm grateful, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Would you like to respond to Apostle?
Well, it is very clear. Like he put it. I'd like to just be able to say we as a church take responsibility. I think that we should have been there. If we heard that through public media that the former president has been denied to go out, we should have been able to be the church and say, hey, please, let somebody have medical attention. And now he passes on. And so I think that the family has not been listening much to us, the church, because they're asking, where were you?
Yeah, where were you?
All right, when we were going through this. It's the same. Those in government would be able to say, where was the voice? And so while we felt, because we were not a strong voice when we needed to be, partially I'll be able to say I think the church has constantly been speaking, only that the powers that be chose when to listen and when not to. But it's important.
So you're saying that the church has been speaking even when all those things are happening?
Yeah, I think in the case of the late president, I'm not sure we were able to be the voice and the conscience of the nation and be able to say, listen, there's somebody who's ill, they need, because I think the church was thinking they're playing politics. And so we should be able to apologize as a church for not being the voice when we needed to be there. And again, that is why I will understand if the family does not want to listen to the church, because they are hurt.
Why are you showing up now?
Why are you coming now?
When this man was being stopped, you were not. You were
that
not there.
Is the.
I need an explicit answer. Do you believe it is spiritually or ethically wrong for someone to insist on attending a funeral when the family has explicitly said no? Especially in an African context.
That's the third time you're asking it.
Because I've not yet gotten an answer. And we kept on being disturbed by that man there.
Exactly. But I will be able to say, yes, it is morally wrong to force yourself to a funeral. It is explicitly, I'll be able to say it's morally not right. You know, you could excuse yourself and be able to say, I wanted to attend. I have been asked not to. So to respect the grieving family. And please, the first grieving family is not a political party. It is not, the number one is the family. And if the family say some things, let's honor and hear what they are saying. All right? And I think it is explicitly, yes, it is wrong to force yourself on a funeral.
Thank you. I was speaking generally. I'm going to now bring it to the actual. Right now, you know that the immediate family has made, one of the demands they've made is that the president should not be able to attend the funeral of the former president. Is it practical?
It is practical. You can make it work. Everything is practical. Everything is practical. If a member of Liberty Christian Center says, I was mistreated by the bishop, I don't want him anywhere near, I have a number of people who can represent me and pass my condolences. It is practical. They didn't source this from me. I think that they would sit and say, how do we work around what the family has said? I think the president and his people who speak on his behalf, they're able to explain to the family that, listen, I can't delegate receiving of heads of state and things like that. If you insist I shouldn't be the first one to body view, practically, are we able to say close family, wife, children, lead the body viewing, so I'm not seen to be wanting to be the first one to body view, and then could you let me lead the body viewing for heads of state who have come in the nation and the diplomatic corps? There is a way to practically go around this thing so that we lay it to rest.
If you listen to politicians, especially from the PF side, they are worried that the government are insisting on them being the first ones to see the body, which is bombarding the nation with allegations of ritual intentions. Now, because of those surrounding the body of the president, how should the church respond to such narratives in a nation where traditional beliefs are very strong, Bishop?
We will always clash about this. The fact that we are a Christian nation didn't make all of us Christians. It's a standard we've set for ourselves in morality and standards to be able to achieve. So there will be those suspicions, but they can be dealt with. And rituals happen, even as not only when we're asleep. Right now, somebody is probably performing a ritual. And so that is why you should be able to say, let us be covered, let us be protected with God's praises, the power of the blood of Jesus. We cannot emphasize on that. And that is why I think we have, an eminent Bishop Alexander, who is out there praying with the family, comforting, speaking there. I believe that everybody who's afraid of ritualism, are you insisting that rituals, witchcraft, and all these powers are greater than the power of God? No, I want to be able to say that when altar meets altar, a greater power, a lesser altar will bow. Power meets power, a lesser power will bow. And so we shouldn't amplify ritualism. Let's believe that Jesus Christ has dealt with all these things at the cross of Calvary and his blood.
With all these allegations and narratives being moved around, what should the family do at this point? Because if those are what's probably stopping the body from coming to Zambia,
right?
The family could be in a position where they are scared to say maybe when this bishop is the first to see the body, one or two things may happen. What should they do right now, the family?
The family. First and foremost, I think that we should be able, number one, respect the family. Respect the family. Listen to the family. Right now, my being broken, look, the president says we must return to normalcy. And so this particular place is going on, families are going on, work is going on, businesses are making business. This family is stuck. People, please, I plead with everybody with a conscience. The family will never move on, and not even when we bury. It takes long for families to heal and progress. For the sake of the family, please listen to them. Let's put to rest this body. I know it affects the political family he belonged to, the social groups he may have belonged to. But it's nothing like the family member. Let the family be heard and work with them to a consensus that they should also give in some demands, but they are the most in this particular matter. Please let the former first family rest.
What does it say about our national leadership when the mourning of a former president becomes so controversial and contested, almost a battlefield for power and control?
It says a lot.
Sorry, just hold your thought. I think there's a caller. Hi there, good afternoon. Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, thank you. Your name and where are you calling us from? Hello? I don't know if we still have... is this still there? Okay.
It's gone.
Yes. What does it say about our national leadership? When the president dies, then it becomes a battlefield.
It means that we have a problem as a nation, and it starts from us accepting that we have a very bad precedence in that. I think we are having another debate about this particular situation. I will tell you a story that you may not have had known. When President Chiluba passed away, and you do know that he had gone through litigation, court. I sat with him in that court when the judgment was being passed and so on. When he passed away, an attendant of his called and says, "Bishop, come over here. The president has died." I jumped out of my bed, ran to there, and I lost the whole week. It was the first time, by the way, Belvedere was used to be able to mourn a president. And I was there running the proceedings of that whole particular point before the burial of the late president.
This man is speaking course without our consent.
Go ahead.
Hi there, good afternoon. Hello, good afternoon. Hello? Is this still there? We lost it. Okay.
They're gone. So we have been there before, and that is why. And by the way, I was deliberate about, if you want to know, to keep my neutrality. I have not showed up at Belvedere or at the Secretariat. To pay my respects, I went to the farm.
You went to
at Chifuema.
Chifuema.
Yes.
Hi there. Good afternoon. Hello. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How are you?
Very fine, thank you. Would like to know your name and where you're calling us from?
George Chagwa, calling you from Northwestern Province, Kalumbila.
You're calling us from Kalumbila, Mr. George?
Yes.
Okay,
yeah.
You may go on and talk to Bish, please.
All right.
You have 2 minutes. You have 2 minutes, sir.
We have our culture in Zambia. If I work from Livingstone and I die from there, they should bring me back to Northwestern Province. We are just not supporting from without. That is our culture. So our former head of state, Mr. Edgar Chagwa Lungu, should be buried in Zambia. That's it. Simple. Thank you.
Okay. Before you go, hello?
Yes, I'm still there.
What's your take on the family's demands?
Yeah, the family demands that, I know the body, he was a family member. So whatever the family demands, they should also look into it, but we should not forget that he was the head of state.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, so as per our culture, this is the first time that we're having a debate on where to bury this one and that one. It happens to our former head of state, where the family wanted to buy them from the village, but he was the head of state. So we need to follow the protocol.
All right, sir. Thank you so much for coming through. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Have yourself a wonderful day. There is a number on the screen. There's a number on the screen that you could actually use and give us a call if you have any contributions or any questions for Bishop Eddie Mulenga. And of course, you can come through live and bring forth your comments, your questions, or your contribution. Were you driving a point? Or producer says there's a caller. Hi there. Good afternoon.
Hello. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank you. Your name and where are you calling us from?
I'm Rodney. I'm calling you from Lusaka. Within Lusaka.
Rodney, you may go on and have a conversation with Bish.
Okay, thank you. So really appreciate the Bishop for his wisdom, and we really were looking forward to receive such words from his clergy. Yeah, so in the view of the president and the state, we are looking to them for them to come out and say and be magnanimous enough to, accept what the family is trying to put across, and not really just to succumb to everything. I think there's a way in which all these things can be handled. When you go in family, and then the mother would always advise the elder brother to at least compromise a bit to what the young brother really is trying to push.
Yes.
So I think, Bishop, you can, as the clergy, advise the head of state at this particular moment just to compromise a bit. Like you said, he can apologize. Even the family can apologize as well. Yes. No one has ever not done anything wrong to another. We all do wrong things to each other. So if we have something for the family and the family has something for the state, these two can come and reconcile and actually just say, okay, we were wrong in this area and you were wrong in this area. But then it comes back more on the head of state to be magnanimous enough and be the bigger person in this picture. Just to come out and acknowledge the family to the extent to which they are pushing him, just to come and say sorry and compromise in that area. So this is what we have been looking at as a nation, and it is just so disheartening to see the level of, insulting and everything that is going on social platform from us, the young ones, when we are the ones who are supposed to foster unity in our nation, because it's going to remain with us. So we are really, really looking forward to the president, the head of state, to be magnanimous enough just to be the bigger person in this picture.
Before I let you go, there's I just want to remind you something. About maybe 2 days ago, the president was having we hosted I think the civil society, the CSOs and the church mother bodies at State House. He said a lot of things, but one of the things he said was that we have a funeral and there are always issues. Why don't we maybe bury first, and then these other things we can come back to the table, sit down, and have a conversation. What do you think of that?
Okay, thank you, sir. So my take in that one, it is as well coming back to him as our head of state. How are we going to bury faith? What terms are we going to follow in our burying? If the family is insisting on some terms, we are supposed to sit down, have a dialogue, and then reach at the point where the family is heard, and even the state is heard in some way. And then when we reach to that point where there is unity between the two parties, these people, they are okay with a way of burying their loved ones. And the country is as well okay in which we are going to bury this loved one. Then, if we bury him and the burial passes, then we can go back to everything that we are supposed to go back to.
Yes.
And then, what other things exactly does the president want to look at after the burial? Are we going to go back to harassing each other? Are we going to go back to pulling each other into courts and whatnot and accusing each other? At that particular time, if the direction is going to be like.
Okay. No, so we appreciate you for coming through. Thank you so much for coming through.
Thank you, sir.
Bish, as someone respected across political lines also, What message would you send right now to President Hakainde Hichilema and also the former First Lady? Imagine they were both in the room right now. There's a president seated there in front of that camera, and also there's a First Lady. Let's start with the president. What are you telling the president right now?
I would say, Your Excellency, the instruments of power are in your hands. It doesn't matter who has counseled you to make certain decisions. Ultimately, the buck stops at you. And so I would humbly request that in this particular situation, listen to former First Lady and let her pour out her heart in what she has been going through and the pain that she has carried. And if you find any place where you would find it in your heart to be able to verbalize an apology or record or write, speak, convey an apology for the decisions which would have been made that are hurtful to the former First Lady, do that. And to you, Mama Esther, former First Lady, I would say listen to the president and be able to hear his side of the story and pour out your heart and find it in your heart to also apologize on some of the things you may have done because of what you heard and that which would not have been probably his decision making. I would say to both humbly that there is room to apologize, room to forgive, and room to reconcile.
Who should make the first move between these two people?
The president.
The president should make the first move.
He is the one in power. He is the one in authority. He is actually even the one being accused. And I believe that some of the accusations which are being labeled may be far from his actions or thoughts. So he can apologize. He would be the first one.
A lot of his followers say that the PF, because of how he was treated when he was in opposition, they also owe him an apology because of how he was treated.
Who?
Because of how HH was treated when he was still in opposition. A lot of his followers feel that even the PF owe him an apology.
Listen, I will quickly be able to say we cannot fix all the problems we have at the funeral. And that is why we must let this funeral rest. I will put it on record. Trust me, him being buried out of the country is hurtful and painful for me. He ruled me for over 7 years. He worked with the church. He accepted prayer not once in a while, regularly in State House. I want him here. But if we have to have a temporal closure to this by him being buried in South Africa, which I would miss, I am here. I should have been that side to see him off. Then let it be. It is called compromise. We cannot begin to fix he was mistreated. So you want to tie that to this funeral? There's a lot of wrongs we have made to each other. It is not time to fix everything. It is time to mourn. Ecclesiastes chapter 3, there's time for everything. It's time to mourn. Time to lay him to rest and bury. Let us lay the man to rest.
The producer said there's a caller. Hi there, good afternoon. Hello.
Good morning.
Good afternoon, thank you. Your name and where you calling from?
Yes, I'm calling from Bandevu.
What is your name?
Michael, how are you, Bishop?
I'm fine, thank you. Is that Michael? You said?
Yes, this is Michael Piri.
It's a joy.
Bandevu.
It's a joy to hear you, Mr. Piri.
Referring to Mr. Muhango.
We thank God.
Yes.
Mr.
I
Piri,
want
can go
also
on,
just to...
You have 2 minutes.
Yes, I want just to add on what our Bishop alluded. Hello?
Yes, we're following Mr. Piri. Please go on.
Yes, well, I want first and foremost to say thank you very much for that elaborate information which Bishop was spoken. I wish in this country we had so many bishops like you. I think Zambia would have been moving in the right direction.
Thank God.
But for the past few years, I've noticed that the clergy have gone quiet. The clergy are becoming quiet. They are not helping the citizens. Even when they see there is an impasse, they've kept quiet. You know, the situation which is happening now, it reminds me the story of David and King Saul. Both were leaders. They were given same privilege by God. But the other one, King Saul, you remember, he was told that he should kill everything. But what did he do? He said, I want to please my God. But little did he know that he didn't get the instructions correct. And King David, he also erred. But what he could do was to ask God to say, I have done something wrong, forgive me.
Yes.
And this is what is happening. In leadership, it doesn't mean that if you're a president, you can't say, I am sorry. Because biblical is there. You know, biblical is there. Presidents are human beings. President is a title. President is a title. But a human being, you all come from the culture and you always come from a human being.
You have 30 seconds. You have 30 seconds, please. You have 30 seconds, please. In conclusion.
Yes, as I conclude, the best for me now, I am asking our president, who is President Hakainde Hichilema. When you look at what is happening on the social media, Koswe, Watchdogs, and the UPND members are mocking ECL. But on the other side, they are saying race is concerned and they have taken the family to court. This, it won't be a reconciliation, that I can tell you. Because the family is in pain. What he could have done, the president, is to stop everyone talking about this issue so that this issue can be dealt with the government and the family.
Yes.
But he has allowed it. But everyone is, the other side they are mocking. It's more like here you've got a gun, then here you're dangling a carrot. This is what is happening. So the president, he should make decisions, and the people who are surrounding the president, stop giving the president wrong advice. The president is the president of all Zambians. He's not a party president. He's a Republican president.
I wanted you to go, but when you say the people surrounding the president stop giving the president wrong advice, why are we making it sound as if the president doesn't think for himself? Like if he's just told wrong things, those are the things that he would do. He's an independent thinker.
You
mean he can't make correct decisions by himself?
Yes, it's very simple because when you look at I want you to analyze the two nation address which the president gave to the Republicans, to us as Zambians. You could see, you could tell that it's more like the president is being told what to say. They are getting the point. Because when you look at the first one, it was recorded. The second one, when the president came, all of us, we expected that the president is going to say, I have stepped aside, let's mourn our brother and bad. What happened? He cancelled the national mourning. So meaning the advisors.
Can I come in and say, like, look at me. My sector is mostly in the entertainment and you know, other things that I do. Part of it is in the entertainment. A lot of our businesses in the entertainment, or even just certain procedures, couldn't run indefinitely. I know I know there's an issue of us maybe waiting until that Monday, but like we couldn't know when it was going to happen. So certain things, certain programs, not just in entertainment, but certain programs couldn't run, and that meant that a lot of programs got stuck. So what was wrong with the head of state saying, let us proceed with other things, then as we continue trying to solve the problem?
The only problem was that the government had increased up to 9 days, up to the 23rd of June. He could have waited until 23rd of June. That's when he could have now said, they've mentioned a day of mourning which we have extended. It has come to an end. Everyone, rather than cancelling it. If you remember, my brother, Hamasaka also came on to say that the president did not cancel. But we heard that the president, he cancelled. He said, if I quote, the president said, we cannot be in perpetuity and we have to return to normalcy. That's the word he used. The national mourning is over. But there was that room for Monday.
I didn't watch Hamasaka. Yes. Obviously, the president cancelled the national mourning that day when he did the national, the national address.
And Hamasaka said the president he didn't, and it's in public domain.
Let us conclude, sir.
Yes, so as I conclude, that's what I'm saying. There is miscommunication among the UPND. There is too much communication. Let the president, as I conclude, let the president stop what is happening. They should stop.
All right, sir. Because of time, sir, I have to let you go.
They should stop all those who are talking about whether in PF or what.
Thank you, sir. Because of time, I have to let you go. Bish, would you like to respond to that?
He has made a square in brief. Everything falls on leadership. Everything falls on leadership. If the PF and the Tonse are putting fire, inflaming the situation by their utterances, it is on the leadership to be able to say, we can't have everybody making an official stand for us. Let us fall in line. If there is on the government side, the president should be able to say, hold on, hold the fire. Everything rises and falls on leadership. Let leadership lead.
Bish, I hear you. Thank you. Yesterday, we were all following the proceedings in South Africa. So the court allowed the state to make their repatriation application on the 3rd of July, and then they asked the family to do like the opposition on the 4th, and then the matters will be heard on the 18th of July, of which we don't know if on the 18th it will be settled and we'll have a day for burial.
Oh God.
That we don't know. Do you think we are a people, as Zambians, with the parties involved, the government and the family,
right?
Do you think we are a people that are willing or can be willing to even just settle this outside court before the 18th?
Well, first and foremost, the Bible position is if your brother takes you to court, the Bible says, do not do that. You go and settle the matter before you reach the court. That is what Scripture is all about. But there is something called mediation, and I learned it in life. So that court case will not be a win for anybody. Whether the family wins the case and are given the body, they haven't won. Whether the state wins the case and has access to the body, they don't win. Nobody is winning in that particular situation. It must be on record. It will only deepen the pain, the hurt, the mistrust, and the rift in the country. That battle for that body will leave Zambia never the same until God steps in. And that's why I want to be able to say we are able to sort out this before the 18th.
Do you think the government and the family are going to that table to find a solution or to win the case, even when they've been sitting?
Well, you don't take a court to case just for the matter of that. You want to win.
No, but I'm not saying that when they've gone to court now. I'm saying the last maybe 2, 3, 4 times they've sat. Do you think they've been? Because when you go to the table to talk, yes, you probably want to find a solution.
Yes.
But do you think they've been going to find a solution and they've just been failing, or they go to the table to say we must win and they must lose?
No, I think we got to the place where we're ready to receive the body. It means there was some form of compromise until the compromise was broken. By who? I do not want to assume, because of social media or media departments which have been able to say that. We will only know details now. Who broke that agreed position earlier? All right?
Pick the last two calls or so. Okay.
We need
Hi there.
reconciliation.
Good afternoon. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello.
Good afternoon, thank you. Your name and where are you calling us from? Hello? Do you still have the caller? Okay. I was hoping to pick the last two, to accommodate the last two calls before we can conclude. There's a line on the screen that you can actually use, and if you have any contribution or question, you can bring forth, and of course, bring forth the questions, the contributions to the bishop, to the Bish, and he'll be able to hear you. I think there's a caller now. Hi there. Good afternoon.
Hello, Macho Mabwanji.
Macho Mabwanji, kama na wandani. Hello? Hello? Do we still have the caller?
Hello?
Hey, Macho Mabwanji.
Hello?
Hey, niku mverani manje.
Bwino, Macho Mabwanji ho.
Bwino Bwanji, kama na wandani, mtu mirakuti.
This is Kalabo calling you.
Your name is Kalabo?
My name is Mukaba.
Mukaba, well, you're calling us from where?
Kalabo.
Kalabo, okay, great. Please talk to the Bish.
Yes. Nkani bosi limushe. Hello?
Hey, Tigera, yes. Come on. Hello? So there's a caller who says that they are in. Please
talk to me. Hello.
Hello. Good afternoon.
Hello. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank you. Your name and where are you calling us from?
This is Kennedy calling you from Chibombo.
Kennedy from Chibombo. Please talk to the Bish.
Good afternoon, Bishop.
Good afternoon, Kennedy. How are you, sir?
I'm well, thank you.
Thank you.
Bishop, you have done well in your conversation, but I think you are sort of drifting more in supporting the family. What you should know is that that man, Mr. Lungu, was the president of the Republic of Zambia.
Mm-hmm.
He saved the government of Zambia for 7 years. He was sworn to defend the constitution. And the president has got power to call the war or to summon the soldiers to go and fight on behalf of Zambia. As it is, you cannot untap the powers of the president to say that no, the president has to excuse himself or delegate a state function. What you should understand, for the military honors to be held, the president has to be present. The color party of the military has to go to the airport. That color party has to seek permission from the president. But if you say that the president shouldn't take part, whom are they going to seek permission from to proceed with the funeral procession? So are you telling me that the dead body for Mr. Lungu, they have to seek permission from the dead body for Mr. Lungu? You are usurping the powers of the president. That's treasonous. You are saying that you are forcing the president to be on leave because of this funeral. You are calling it a state funeral because the number one citizen is the president. And the president makes a decision for all 20 million Zambians. Yes, quite right. You can say the president can go and receive the funeral. The government compromised. No wonder why they allowed the body to go to Kisema. If the government wanted the government, the body to go to Minus or Lungu, the body would have gone there. But they decided that, okay, let the body go to Kisema. Let us do the military honors. The president cannot delegate the military honors. I've never seen that. I'm 45 years old now. I've never seen the president delegating the powers because that president sought to defend the constitution. And like the state functions, I've never seen the president rejecting the function of this magnitude. Maybe I'm wrong, but I've never seen it. Like I'm starting the powers of the president. We need to differentiate between who the president, just a moment, we need to differentiate who a president is, Hakainde Kirema, and the president. On this issue, we are bringing the office of the presidency, not the president, Hakainde Kirema. On his own accord, maybe he doesn't even want to attend even the syndrome.
I have a question for you. I have a question for you. Let's have a conversation. Let's have a conversation. And I think my last caller. Before I bring in the Bish, you think that the vice president acting on the instruction of the president is not able to carry out instructions?
The vice president cannot receive the color party. The vice president cannot receive the color party. The only person who can receive the color party, the military color party, is the president, not the vice president. The vice president can attend the memorial service either like the way they wanted the service to be at showground. The vice president can go. I'll give you an example. The funeral for Mr. Nawakwi. The president went to the church. The vice president went to the funeral, to the graveyard. Why? Because if the president can first attend, then delegate later. The president has to receive, then delegate.
Thank you.
Okay. Is there anything else?
Nothing else, but let us not usurp the powers of the president.
No, thank you very much for coming through. Bish, maybe you can respond.
Yeah, I think that we're on the same page, Kennedy, in being able to say the president is in a very powerful place. And I think that in the compromise, the color party arrangement that you emphasize would have been sought and placed in that particular compromise. As you may have heard my tone and my position, everybody must be in the position of give and take and be able to accept that. I see the emphasis on the color part, and that would have been included in the compromise. I am with you. Number two, I'm in agreement with you that you don't usurp the power of the president, Kennedy. I'm with you, and I have not yet studied law. I only have done introduction to law. I don't know at what stage it becomes treasonous, but I think that when we are in compromise place, maybe we should even avoid strong statements like that, so that we are out this compromise. Listen to me. For me, it is reconciliation. Reconciliation. There is room for apologizing, forgiveness, and reconciliation. Not on one side, but on both sides.
Bish, there's a gentleman who's sent me a message saying that he's from Johannesburg, and then he says there's I'm intrigued when he says I'm in Joburg. There's a perspective people need to get. So I want to connect him now and see if we can hear that perspective. Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much. I am actually in Johannesburg. I came for this particular funeral, and I was in the service yesterday, and it was a very solemn experience.
What's your name, sir?
Bishop Eddie. My name is Brian.
Are you from Zambia?
I'm from Lusaka, yes. I flew specifically for this particular funeral.
Please,
so, and I was,
we're all ears, Mr. Brown.
Yes, yes. So, now, there are two things that I've learned, both being here for a few days. There are two things that are at play here. One, and I hope we have got the open heart to understand this. The first thing is that everybody wants the body of Lusaka, whether it is the ECL family, whether it is those who are friends and former colleagues of the late president, even I want to believe that even the South African government would like to see a situation where the body of the former president Edgar Chagwa Lungu be buried in Lusaka, because that is his home. Before we talk about all these other beautiful things about honor and so on and so forth, the primary thing is that it is his home and he must be buried there. The second thing that is at play here is that the family insists that they do not want the person of Hakainde Hichilema to superintend over the funeral of Edgar Chagwa Lungu. That's not against the presidency, it's against the person. They don't want the person of Hakainde Hichilema, the one who graduated from UNZA in 1983, or is it 1985? The one who they have had this back and forth, these two people. That person, not the presidency or the powers or whatever. So the treasonous issue is very technical, because the family is looking at the person of. And as I understand it, the late former president indicated that he did not want him, not the presidency, but the person. So let's imagine that if Edgar Chagwa Lungu died 2 days after the elections, that there's a new president and it's not Hakainde Hichilema, and then Hakainde Hichilema says, I want to come for the funeral, the family would say no. Because it's not the presidency that they are against, it's the person. And that is why they are saying, let us bury in Johannesburg or in Pretoria. Let's bury in South Africa. When there is change of government, since our friends said they've been in government for a long time, so they're willing to wait. Whether it's 10 years or whatever, 50 years. When Hakainde Hichilema is unable as a person to fulfill those responsibilities of president, to superintend over a funeral of a former president, since he cannot excuse himself out of humility, then they will exhume the body then and bring it to Lusaka.
From the way you are articulating, I think I'm inclined to think that you understand these things. Is it possible for the president to excuse himself?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
In line with the gentleman who we were talking to just a while ago, what he was saying.
No, I think the gentleman who spoke earlier is just trying to use rhetoric to inflame the situation. This is why we are putting our president in an embarrassing situation, because of people like that.
He talked about the
color
people who've been in
he talked about the color party. He says that you can't just give it to anybody, not even the vice president. I don't know how that operates. I think I would like to find out.
So let me tell you the truth. Let me say this. This is going to be my opinion. Whatever I've been telling you has been purely what's on the ground. My opinion is this, that if truly the president wants to honor Edgar Chagwa Lungu, it doesn't make sense. How does he want to honor the same person his followers are insulting? How is that honor? It's not genuine. I think for me, military honors, for me at this point, I said it's my opinion, the family might have a different opinion, other friends might have different opinions. My opinion is, I think those military honors and whatever, for me at this point, they are absolutely unnecessary to discuss. Why?
That's why you have lost me, because that man, he was the man you've gone to mourn in South Africa. He was a commander-in-chief. We're not going to bury him like a guy like me.
And that's not a problem. You know why I feel that my opinion has some weight to it? It's because the primary thing is to bring the body back home, not the way we are embarrassing the nation. I think that is the primary token here.
Let's conclude.
The president,
let's conclude.
Or the power of the president. We are talking about the dead man. This is not a story for HH. This is not HH's story. It's not. It's not about his power, his ability to receive the color party and treason. This is not his story. This is the last page of Edgar Chagwa Lungu. It is his story. Give it to him. Okay? We have to say, if the president can't delegate, then forget about those honors. Because we know that he can delegate. And if he can delegate and there's truly an intention from, which I believe that President Hakainde Hichilema is genuine in saying he wants to honor. But that needs to be backed up by an action where he's able to say, okay, fine, can the Chief Justice take this? Or can the Vice President take this? All right? And if that ability is there, it's in him. We're putting him in a difficult situation by saying, it is only him. No. Since the rest of us, the citizens, We want the body of our friend, our former leader, our mentor, whatever, our father, our uncle, to come back to Lusaka. Then forget about the owners if they are going to cause treason.
Because of time, I'd like us to conclude. I'd like us to conclude, sir.
The family to bend over and say, do the body viewing. They don't want him to do the body viewing. They have spiritual, traditional, cultural, and moral reasons for that. Let's not get a widow who's in pain, who's down already, and use all the state machinery to kick her further. Let us not be a government that abuses a widow. Let's not do that.
Let us conclude, sir.
What we want
may we conclude? May we conclude? May we conclude?
Absolutely, my brother. Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. You've seen the way we had to pick this call.
Yes.
It was from South Africa.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's
in conclusion, Bish, I've kept you for a long time, so I apologize.
That's okay.
I would like you to respond to what the gentleman has said and also your last remarks.
I think I would like to pick on the fact that he's gotten broken. I would have loved to even ask him, like others who have traveled to South Africa, if they have changed their tickets and waiting, or they have to fly back.
Please send us the message. Have you changed are you waiting until the 18th or you're flying back?
I feel for you. My heart is out for you. I know that a lot of people have been there longer while the president was alive and well. Those of you who stood around him, we thank God for all of you. To the nation and everybody, I'd like to be able to say the one who's lost the most is Mama Esther Lungu. His immediate children and family. Let us think about them. Let us uphold them in prayer. Let us support them in what they are going through. The greatest loss is with that former first family. Please do remember that. My last words will be simply, there is room to apologize, to forgive, and to reconcile. To the church, let's keep, the reason why we keep preaching is that slowly people are being changed. Let's continue to preach reconciliation. Let's continue to preach healing. And while we can fix everything right now, let us look to God in prayer together and have some closure and healing in this particular situation.
Bish, I'd like to thank you so much for your time, your wisdom, and everything that has happened on this show. We really appreciate it.
Thank you very much for having me, Sholster, and I will be ready to come back as soon as you need me.
Definitely. I know really after this we will have to have a follow-up conversation.
Please.
Yeah, so do not hesitate to pick the call once the number comes through again.
I will definitely be ready. God bless you. God bless the nation of Zambia.
We've been having a conversation with the presiding Bishop of Liberty Christian Center, Bishop Dr. Eddie Mulenga, and of course I know most of you have actually picked up one or two things that have been said on this show. We may continue contributions on various platforms where you've been watching this show on. Until next week, my name is Jackson Peary. How long has this show been?